another episode of Chatty Broads with Bekah and Jess.
Okay, broads. We are back. Somehow we are back with another Bachelorette. You know what, Bekah? I knew that we've had like 17 seasons back to back, but for some reason it really wasn't computing. And I'm like, why? Normally, like the first episode is like, oh my gosh, we're back doing this again.
Yeah, it's like we just did this.
Just felt like a blur. And I'm like, oh yeah, Katie. Katie was like 8 weeks ago.
And how long was Katie after Matt?
I mean, like right away.
Was it?
Yeah, like almost immediately, I think. There was like a couple weeks, I believe. And then literally the week after Katie was BIP, and then the week after BIP.
Yeah, so at this point, you know.
Is Michelle, and then like, I think maybe with Michelle's we'll get a 2-week break before The Bachelor.
Wow.
I'm like, you guys, I understand that you had to take a COVID pause. But
they're trying to cut their losses.
I'm like, this is a lot. I'm starting to really mix up all the different people that were on the different seasons. It's all just like a blur to me.
Truly. I was just someone, I don't know if it was like Paradise or something. I saw somebody and they were on a season from earlier this year. And I was like, wait, aren't they from like 2011? And I was like, no, just from February.
just the ancient February a million years ago. I almost feel bad for the contestants on the show because I feel like it has to feel like so much whiplash. Like Ivan, you were being talked about everywhere 2 weeks ago and now no one remembers.
That's a blessing and a curse, right?
Right. It's like, I suppose when it's something negative, then, but like, okay, I'll say this, like Mari Kenny, Marissa Riley,
old news.
Joe and Serena. It's just like, wait, what? They got engaged? Yeah. I forgot about all of them already.
And guys, now not a good time, Bachelor Nation, to get engaged, have a new baby. Just don't do it.
No.
Hold the phone.
Hold the phone. Wait until there's
Wait for
pause.
a gap next year, if there is one.
I mean, unless there's not, because they do the senior one.
or what if they're just starting to do like 2 Bachelor, 2 Bachelorette? You know what? I do like, though, actually, that they're doing... I'm kind of psyched that they did back-to-back Bachelorette seasons.
Well, same, because I like The Bachelorette so much better than The Bachelor.
Yeah.
That I would take no Bachelor and only ever have a Bachelorette.
Yeah, I kind of got to agree with you on that one.
Maybe they could have half of a season of The Bachelor so we could find a new Bachelorette.
The Bachelor is generally less predictable, though, because the men have no idea what the fuck is going on with their emotions and their dick and all these things at once.
True.
Bachelorette is almost always, and that's why when I used to watch The Bachelorette, I would always like tune out the last three episodes, because you're like, I know who this girl is picking.
You know what? It's so true.
Yeah.
It's before the podcast. We've talked about this. Yeah. With The Bachelorette, I would never keep watching the last few episodes. I would just look up spoilers.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't care. Not that I don't care, but I'm just like, this is just a lot of extra time that I could be, watching Midnight Mass, for example. Oh, God.
I've been seeing everyone post about that. I have no idea what it is. I'm a little behind on the times. We just started Squid Games,
Oh, you just started it?
Yeah.
God bless.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah. It's exactly what I thought. It's like Hunger Games meets The Platform meets it's kind of my favorite. And
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Midnight Mass. I know we'll get back to the actual show in a second, but please do not send me any spoilers, anyone, because I am only a few episodes in, and as a person coming from a religious background, this show...
Is it scary?
It's scary. It's really scary, but it's also really intense for like those who have religious trauma.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's just a lot, and I kind of hate that I started it because it's emotionally torturous, but here we are. Anywho.
Great.
Anywho. Okay, so...
Okay, you were just telling me before we started recording. Yeah. I was like, tell me your thoughts, because
okay, so for the first episode... I will say this. It did go by quickly to me, which I always love when the first episode, because the first episode, it can be hit or miss.
Yeah.
It can seem so long. It didn't seem long to me. I mean, Michelle might be in running for becoming the best Bachelorette ever, in my opinion. From an episode 1 already, the way that she's handling everything.
Who's your top right now? Like Tayshia?
Yeah. Tayshia's been my
Tayshia's
favorite.
pretty good.
Tayshia was incredible
Yeah.
because it was like the perfect balance of like she was so fun and exciting.
And vulnerable.
And
vulnerable.
vulnerable,
As she'd say.
but also would like call shit out.
Yeah. Totally. She could handle her shit and
Yeah.
be like and do the romance and like
Yes.
everything. Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like we hadn't had a Bachelorette balance everything like that so well. Michelle, I was literally blown away by the way she handled the first night. 0 nerves.
Yeah.
I was like, this woman
She was quick.
is so confident off the gate. I would be literally shaking.
She had like, we'll get into it, but she had some quick quips, like real, like she was on her fucking toes.
I was like, does someone have a teleprompter for this woman right now feeding her like amazing lines to be able to like kick back at the guys? It was very impressive. And
was
you could
good.
tell because all the guys got so nervous after they met her. And there was even that part where Clayton was like, I fumbled that big time because I thought she was going to be a little nervous, but she wasn't at all. And now I'm a mess. So I thought she was so good. Also, on Matt's season, yes, obviously she's beautiful, but holy shit.
Yeah, she's definitely really shining in a way that she wasn't on the prior season. Maybe just because she has the spotlight now, but it's
She
like you
is-
get to really see her in her full glory.
When they were doing that intro package and she was like in the pool and they were zooming up on her profile, I was just like, my breath is taken away. I was rewinding to
She's
watch how
stunning.
beautiful she was.
Yeah, she looks amazing. She's so quick. And also something that I think will be a little interesting in contrast with Tayshia's season is like, I have a feeling things might get a little bit like messier and more dramatic because like, I don't know how much experience Michelle has like in love. And I think that
Yes,
that's going to be kind of a
interesting.
great thing about it.
Very interesting. Yeah, from Tayshia's perspective, we had this new dynamic, which was a person who's been in a marriage before. And that was a whole new experience that was really interesting to watch, someone who's experienced that. But yeah, I agree with you.
She also seems
Michelle.
like she's always been the it girl. And what Gray said, and then Michelle said it in the episode, actually, and I was like, oh, Gray, you nailed it. Gray was like, she seems like the girl who she has always kind of been like the pretty friend, kind of watching everyone else and like not having guys hit on her a lot and stuff like that in high school and kind of being maybe on the outside when it comes to romance a little bit just because she's like sports driven, all that kind of
Right.
thing. And then she said that and I was like, oh my God, you were so right. And so he was like, this is going to be interesting because, you know, she's kind of, she has probably been a little more like reserved and just sort of
No, that's
guarded
That's so
and
true.
all
Yeah, and then you
that.
heard that in that poem at the end for the preview.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
that poem gave me chills top to bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Normally, I'm not a poem person. I was like, I'm excited. I already feel like the energy of this season is going to be a little different. The fact that we right away, first episode in, have this whole playbook drama and Tayshia and Caitlin going into the rooms. Yes, producer setups in different ways for sure, but new, which
Yeah,
I appreciate.
true.
But on the other side, I feel like there's a couple very good guys that Michelle has in her crop of men. But I will tell you, the level of gimmickness that was happening I was like, who are these men? And why are they doing this?
Well,
to
okay,
Michelle?
so also like you and I said that we were going to do a few favorites and a few least favorites. I didn't have any favorite entrances really. I mean, we're going to discuss it, but there was nothing where I was like, that was good.
There were, I will say this, the entrances that were my favorite were the ones that really nothing
know.
happened.
I know.
Which normally, like, I think was it Katie's? Maybe it was Claire/Tayshia's, where it was like there were no gimmicks.
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit like, come on, nobody's going to
Yeah.
do something fun. This one, Bachelor Data.
I think that was Tayshia's because, you know, she only had like 6 guys coming in or some shit like that, you know?
Yeah, I think with Claire's too, that Claire, I remember that it was like there was nothing. It was just all very serious.
Maybe COVID because they couldn't get like rentals and stuff. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm making excuses that are not deserved.
But check this out. Bachelor Data, the holy grail.
Yeah.
wow, so impressive. The speed in which she puts out stats is, I'm like, and I can barely do basic math, is just bewildering to me. But she posted yesterday that Michelle's limo entrance gimmicks have officially broken Ben Higgins' record.
Wow.
So
He had the most gimmicks of women coming onto his show.
and Michelle's broke it.
Wow.
So she's had like by a mile.
What is the definition of a gimmick here?
I think
Does that
anything,
include bringing a small prop, or is that
I mean, I would
okay.
imagine probably 70%
Wow.
of her entrances. Only 30 were traditional entrances.
Wow.
70. And that, again, I'll have to.
Did they show all the men's entrances?
I mean, I think, but you know
Yeah.
how it's like for 2 seconds for some of them.
Yeah.
But that was then where I was like, okay, it's too much.
Yeah.
It was just too much to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like Michelle handled it so well, but it was just over the top.
I'll tell you what, though, I do think that there will be, my vision, I think that the top like 5 guys, I think are going to be really solid. And I think it's going to be a close finish is all I'm going to say.
I feel like I was saying, there seems like there's like a group of guys there that are maybe some of the best guys we've seen.
Yeah.
Right. And it'll be like that final group.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's going to be maybe a lot of easy guys for her to let go.
Yes.
Which, God bless, I'm sure that's easier
Yeah.
when you're the lead to be like, okay, there's a whole chunk of people that I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But then, the final.
So I want to know kind of, all right, let's see. I kind of want to know, well, first let's talk about her a little bit, but then I want to
Yes.
know who your kind of standouts are, entrances, but then also just people aside. Granted, the preview, it's like, okay, so we see our top 4. It is sort of what it seems.
I think.
They were showing like the same 4 men over and over again
Yeah, it
with
looked
her.
that way. You know how they can be sneaky.
They can be
You know
sneaky.
they can be
I was like, oh, is
sneaky.
PJ actually going to make it past week 2?
PJ!
Because he was not in the damn preview like at all.
No.
But
And he wasn't in this episode barely at all either.
no.
I was like, where's PJ?
Gray was just like pacing, like, where is he?
He's just has, like a sweat rag. He's just wiping his, oh my God, where the hell is PJ?
So I want to know like your favorites. We'll talk about our favorites. I want to know like some of the guys. Obviously, we'll talk about cringiest entrances, but then I also want to talk about just like dudes you don't vibe with.
Yes, for sure.
And then I also want to talk about kind of, there was definitely, I feel like, some surprising guys that she was really into,
Yes.
that she was really vibing with.
Yes.
I mean, there's a very obvious one to me, but
yes, I would say head on a platter was a little bit of I was a little thrown off that was.
Connor B. It was total Connor B vibes.
That's true. That's very true. Though I feel like Rick isn't as goofy by any means.
No,
as
he's
Connor
just
B.
creepier.
I was like, now, okay, I will say with our cast bio, our guesses, I would say we were pretty 50. Obviously, it's the first episode,
Sure.
so we can't really tell that much. But I would say so far, we were like really split down the middle. I feel like 50% we were
how it usually is.
completely off.
Yeah.
And the other 50, I'm like, wow, I feel
Dead
like we
on.
completely nailed them.
It's usually like that. Like 1 and 2 is
Completely.
like dead on. The other one is like definitely not.
There were a few that I had so created in
You
my head
believed so
that I was
hard.
like, I know exactly what he's going to be like. And then when he walked up, I was like, I am so thrown off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to start? You want to chat a little bit about Michelle first?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, I mean, intro package was phenomenal.
Yeah.
They really went all out for her, and I am very thrilled for her.
They truly did. They're yeah, you don't get the sense like you did with Katie or Claire. I mean, let's be real. Fuck The Bachelor. It's been a few seasons of The Bachelorette since there was a Bachelorette that it seems like production actually even liked.
Yeah, it does seem that way. I mean,
Tasha
clearly,
aside, but that was
they,
still COVID weirdness.
they loved Tasha because Tasha is now very much part of the franchise in every way. But you obviously they didn't like Claire, that's for sure.
It hasn't been since what, like Becca's season that they've actually liked a lead?
Seems like it. So this is
Feels Claire after Becca? It doesn't seem right.
Hannah Brown. Oh, they loved Hannah Brown.
Yeah.
They loved
How could
Hannah
I forget?
Brown. Yeah, no. That was their golden child.
How could I forget?
They loved
Although
Hannah
it's
Brown.
odd. She's not involved. Like, she's not involved much.
Yeah. I wonder about that a little bit. You know.
Do you think they loved her ratings and they didn't love her? Working with her?
I would say that adds up with, you know.
The floatings around. The Hannah stands are gonna come.
I don't know the woman. I have nothing to say about her. I know nothing of her.
Well, I will say,
you hear rumors and you hear things.
Who knows the truth of it? But I will say,
she does seem very happy now.
Knowing Becca firsthand, it's like Becca is like probably the easiest person in the world to work with, you know?
Yeah.
It's like she's so just like chill, nice, very polite, very like on time, respectful, all those kind of things. So it makes sense that she's doing so much with the Batch world. It seems like Tayshia's the same way.
Absolutely. And like, you know, I don't know Tayshia well, but the few interactions have been nothing but absolutely lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Never met Hannah. So again,
Yeah, me neither.
Can't say anything, but you can't help but hear things around town sometimes.
Juicy.
Anywho, definitely seems like Michelle is one of their new favorites because she's getting that killer intro package. I was dying when they were in the classroom with the kids, and one of the kids goes, "How many boyfriends are you gonna have?" And I'm just picturing her being like, "Well, kids, let me tell you about this show that seems polyamorous positive, but in fact is kind of the opposite. So I'm gonna start out with all these people, but it's really looked down upon if I say I love you to too many, but I have to walk away with one." Confusing, I know.
That one girl, well, I don't know how I feel about her kissing 30 guys. It's like, stop shaming your teacher now.
I was just picturing the parents getting like, you know, like, "Hey, can you sign away for the kids to do filming with The Bachelorette?" And you know that there's a mom there who is just praying she's going to be in the background. She's standing and she is just fully glammed out. And she's like, "This is my moment."
PTA.
She's like told her kid everything to say. She's like, "You better fucking say this line. You better fucking say it. If you don't have enough screen time on this, I swear to God." Full stage moms. But I loved the moment with her family.
Oh yeah. They seem nice. Oh yeah, they seem great.
But I loved them. Like, it was so nice to have, I don't know, it was nice to have a story of like, I'm single by choice because I have high standards because I've seen this.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I feel like it'll be an interesting dynamic on the season, again, because of that perspective. It's like you see the absolute love between her mom and her dad, and the fact that like the mom is like just talking about the dad and starting to cry, and he's starting to cry, and they've been married for however long, and their love is that strong still that they just a couple words and they're crying about each other. I'm like, my God. So, you know, she's had quite an example of two people who really care about each other.
Which it does look from the previews like she's down to that final rose. Who knows if she'll get engaged or not, but it seems like she doesn't like make it all the way to that point, whatever that means. So.
I know.
I'm like, wow, girl, you've been holding out hope all these years for the Bachelor franchise to find you that husband of quality. Interesting. But, you know, it's happened before.
And it's been happening recently.
It's been happening.
Their record is high right now. It was very low for a minute, and now it is quite high.
Do you think that COVID has affected that? Like, do you think had it been the same leads like 2 years ago, if they were the same age and everything, that it would have different outcomes?
Absolutely.
Very interesting.
I mean, I guess at this point, you know, around, I think a lot of the United States stuff is pretty open now. So maybe not.
No, but I guess I mean like the psychological after effects of last year, even now if you're in an open society.
True. There's kind of this thing of like, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You never know if the world will be completely on fire. fire on Thursday. So when you find someone, hold on real tight.
Granted, you know what though? The Bachelorette generally has higher rates of success in general. And in the past 18 months, there have been 4 bachelorettes to like 1 bachelor.
That's very true. So that's very true.
That also makes sense too, that there's like a higher couples rate. Because hey, look at the 1 bachelor. They are dating, but
it didn't end in an engagement.
No.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's definitely a sure thing that Nayte will be in the top 2.
I don't know how I feel about him.
I would say that if it wouldn't be for the preview that everyone's like, Nayte's a player, I would be completely smitten. Because I feel like Nayte, I did not get the energy from him at all that he was trying. It felt organic to me. Yeah. It felt very real. I did not get... We were all like, he's going to be a fuckboy because he's so beautiful and like the way he was dressed and everything. I did not get fuckboy energy from him at all.
I think he needs an image consultant because the way he's like doing his eyebrows and his hair, like the look combinations, it's like, it's not maybe what you want to be giving off.
It's a big fuckboy. It's a big fuckboy look.
Definitely.
But I mean, what better than not a fuckboy who looks like a fuckboy? I'm fine with that.
True.
But it was interesting too. After we did the cast bio episode, I did get a DM from someone who was like, I'm cracking up with you guys talking about Nayte because I went to school with him like most of their life. And they were saying like, yeah, he's absolutely gorgeous and like, you know, a really great guy, but like 1000% not a player. So, I mean, that's one person's, but this person apparently went to school with him for a long time.
Now, there was other people, I don't know about you, that I was getting blown the fuck up about. And I was like, guys, just let me make my own judgments. But there was one person in particular that I was getting totally blown up about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Did you not have any one particular person you're getting blown up about?
I haven't checked my DMs in numerous hours, so.
Okay.
Before we dive in a little more, should we take a quick pause?
Yes. Also, first I have a funny story. My nanny had texted us this morning being like, oh, my roommate just tested positive for COVID and like, I don't know what to do. Like we haven't really been together the past weekend. She just texted and said, my roommate's an idiot. She saw the word positive and panicked. She tested positive for the antigen and I had to tell her, of course, because she's vaccinated. So anyway, that was good news. Good news Wednesday.
Thank you, Lord. A miracle. A miracle.
She's been healed.
She's been healed.
Divine intervention. Okay, anyway. All right.
Broads. So today's episode sponsor is by something I swear to you, I swear I use this almost every other day, and that is honey. Okay, so let's talk about it because I actually know how useful this is, but I also know how skeptical I was at first because like a lot of people, I was like, free money, what's the catch? Well, let me start off by saying there isn't one. Like at all. Honey is straightforward and super simple. It's the free browser extension that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best ones to your cart.
Yeah, you don't even have to do any work for it. It's really that easy. The hardest part about Honey is just downloading it in the first place, which isn't hard. Honey supports over 30,000 stores online, everything from tech and gaming products to food delivery to home decor and fashion brands. The other day, I literally saved 25% on an entire order unexpectedly. Food order, which I love. I used to go in my email and be like, oh, do I have anything from Uber Eats or Postmates? Any codes?
Yep.
Now Honey does all the work for me. Anyway, if you're buying a necessity that you have to purchase regardless, like a household product or food like me, then I think it counts as being free money.
I mean, honestly, all you have to do, by the way, is install Honey on your computer. And then next time you get to the checkout page of one of your favorite stores, Honey will let you know if it's found a coupon code and it will try them all and apply the best one to your cart. You just have to sit back and watch the prices drop. It's incredible.
And if you don't already have Honey, you could just be straight up missing out on free savings. It's literally free. It installs in a few seconds. And by getting it, you're going to be doing yourself a favor and you're going to be supporting the show. So get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/chatty. That's joinhoney.com/chatty. And make sure to use the /chatty so you can support our show.
Broads, my fall allergies are acting up lately badly. Between that and how dusty and dry the air is in California right now, it's kind of the worst combination for breathing easy. I'm so thankful that inside my house we have an air doctor because it has made all the difference. Air Doctor makes professional quality air purifiers that remove particles and toxic gases and uses medical grade filters to remove 99% of bacteria and viruses, including pollen dust and smoke.
Wow.
Yes.
This has been the best thing for my kids' room, actually. I have one in there right next to their cribs. Especially now that they're a little bit older and they're going to the park and on play dates and all that stuff. All kids are really germy just by nature, but having an air doctor in their room helps me know that if they did bring anything home from the playground, it won't last long. Plus, they're WhisperJet fans. Air doctors are 30% quieter than most other air filters, so kids don't even know when they're there.
The coolest
and you don't know when they're there.
Yes, exactly. The coolest feature, I think, is that it has this thing called auto mode. The Air Doctor actually uses a laser air sensor to detect the quality of the air and adjust automatically, so you never have to touch a thing. It handles all of it for you. Like, for example, if I'm cooking and I burn something, just an example, the light turns red right away and I know that it's working. And I've definitely noticed I was breathing easier once we started using Air Doctor. It makes a huge difference.
This is like from a product from the future.
I know.
Laser detectors? What?
Fancy, fancy, fancy.
Also, Air Doctor comes with a no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't love it, just send it back for a refund. Just go to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code CHATTY, and you're going to receive up to $300 off. That's right, up to $300 off. But only if you go to airdoctorpro.com, airdoctorpro.com. Use promo code CHATTY, airdoctorpro.com, promo code CHATTY.
Okay, so first we have some of the guys' intro packages.
Yes.
In general, I'll be honest, I didn't feel like any intro package particularly stood out, except for the fact that, and I saw Blake H post about this, and I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, thank God it's not just me. Chris S. had the longest intro package I've ever seen.
Chris S. was the one who ended up coming out in shorts, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
His intro package was 100 years.
And you would really think that there was some reason for that?
He has to go far, right? I mean, unless production just absolutely loves him. I mean, we know he's obviously not the next Bachelor, but I'm like, why is this intro package so long? They're not talking about anything.
I bet he's going to be the villain of the season.
Quite a call. You think so?
Yeah, he's the one that came out in shorts, right?
Yeah.
Hate him. Hate him.
I saw you put up a poll and you're like, what do we think about this guy?
A lot of people were like, nah.
I thought because you put that up, you liked him. And I was like, oh, we're going to maybe have a disagreement on this one.
No, right away I was like, nah. 2 seconds in. No, I think he's going to be a villain. And they have done that in the past. Remember, I mean, it was a season I was on, so I won't forget it. But like, Crystal had this whole intro about how she feeds the homeless and like all this stuff. And then
she did have a long intro package.
And they've done that more than once. There's someone else recently where they did the same thing.
He did say in his intro package, he was like, I love helping people. Luke P. Oh, you're
See,
right.
This is the classic. This is the classic pre-villain.
How did I miss it?
Yeah.
No, because they did have Chris say, I care about helping people. Then we saw him with his mom.
Yeah, no.
And he, she was playing with him about how him and Michelle are both point guards. Okay.
Remember Luke P?
Right.
I think Luke P was with his niece. Like she was helping him pack.
Yes. And he had that intro package like he was going to be the sweetheart of the season. And everyone was obsessed with Luke P night one. Greg had a long intro package too. And he was with his family and it was very like sweetheart. All right.
They got to throw in the twist. This is classic.
I think you nailed it.
This is classic.
I think you nailed it. I can't believe I missed it. Yeah. I was just like, why is this so long? And nothing's happening. And I don't feel like I'm getting anything from this. And we barely then saw him on the actual episode.
He doesn't seem like, maybe it's just my followers though, because it was like, I think it was like 80% of people who were like, nah.
Yeah.
To him. So But I guess what I'm saying is he didn't seem very beloved after episode 1 by any means.
No, it wasn't like a Greg or a Luke P thing where everyone's like simping for them.
Right.
Maybe they thought they would because he's a very handsome guy.
Right.
But they didn't give us much with him. Maybe episode 2 we're gonna get a whole taste of Chris S.
Who knows? Also, something to notice, Chris, we find out that he is a motivational speaker with a nonprofit where he goes and talks to kids. I was like, okay, this is very different than a freelance motivational speaker.
Very different. We were covered
this is not Carl.
in scared goosebumps when we first saw that he was a motivational speaker, but that's a very different energy.
And now we're like, no, you're just a youth group pastor.
And that's on God.
Yeah. So
I was like, as soon as he said that, I'm like, this all adds up to me.
Yeah.
When they were saying motivational speaker, I'm like, I'm not reading motivational speaker off of him, though his energy was interesting to me. But definitely can picture it in front of like children being just like, you got this, kids, you know.
Now the only other thing
Motivational speaker for children just kind of makes me laugh. So it's
probably high schoolers.
I'm picturing the like preschool.
Like, you got it. College preparation. They're like,
think about your future.
they have like cups of Cheerios. They're just like,
they're just those little bowls. They're just spilling their juice everywhere. They're just like shaking.
Miss Michelle.
I pick Ember up from school and she's just like, Mr. Chris G scares me.
Mr. Chris G, I said I have to think about my future. I don't know what that is.
Mr. Chris G told me I'm wasting time when I'm watching Sesame Street because there's really no profitable aspect.
She gets in the
to
car.
it.
She's like, Mom, you ever think about how there's only 24 hours a day, so we got to make each one count?
I'm like, I don't need that energy. She already came from school a couple days ago before the weekend and runs in the house screaming, "No more plastic."
Oh, yeah.
And I hear her yelling it from her, which, yes, agree. I appreciate that I have my now little non-plastic warrior in the house, but I hear her screaming from her bedroom, "No more plastic." And I walk in and she's trying to break her toothbrush.
Yeah, I was saying like burning Barbie dolls or some crazy shit like that.
She was trying to break her toothbrush in half, yelling, "No more plastic."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, Amber, I'm like, you're right. And mommy and daddy need to work on that. But you already have the toothbrush, so if you break it, you're then actually wasting.
It goes in the landfill and you're helping to kill the earth.
Yeah, and she was just like screaming it from the bedroom trying to break her shit. So anywho,
Hey,
don't
I
need that.
I got a question for you real quick before I forget along those lines. What do you do? What did you do? How did you handle it? Or did you just stop taking her outside when Ember started like, commenting on other people? Like where Ruth is, we're in line at the Salvation Army yesterday and Ruth's like, she's got a baby in her belly. Yay! About someone who's definitely not pregnant, She's going to push a baby out of her belly, Mom! And you're just like,
the things my daughter has said I cannot speak of on this podcast.
What do? Do you just all you do is rush them along, right? You're like, you're like, la 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 la.
Yeah, just trying to talk over and just be like,
we love babies, and when people have babies in their belly, it's like, mommy had Frank in her belly. You start doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can do is just pray for people's forgiveness around you. And like, I remember, I've had children say things to me before that hurt my feelings when I was like standing in line. Yeah. Like I remember right after I got my pixie cut and I was hyper self-aware of it, there was a little kid behind me and she was just like, "Look at that boy." And I'm like,
no, and I know too, if I was to be like, yeah, and mommy had a baby, like, oh, you're talking about mommy's baby, when mommy had a baby in her butt, she'll
be like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what I mean. Oh, I've said before, yeah, where I'd be like, oh yeah, you mean this? And she's like, that is not what I said. And then she just repeats it louder and you're just like, I'm so sorry.
Sometimes they're mean as hell though. I think I told you about my one nanny kid where he was like, I was like, am I your favorite and my favorite babysitter? And he was like, you would be my favorite if you didn't have all those red dots all over your face.
Now,
I was like, and this is where you die.
No judgment to the parents of, of the child. But I think there's a difference between kids who are making observations. Like, you know, I've seen my mom with a baby in her belly, so I'm making a comparison versus when the children are saying things that are cruel. I'm like, that is a whole different conversation with me and Ember if that type of stuff is happening.
I think it's just personality sometimes too. Like that kid in particular, it was just like he learned at a young age like what he could do to kind of like get you. And it was almost like, you know, some kids like to watch that, you know, watch that reaction. Like, and if I do this, then what are you gonna?
Yeah, that's a no go. That's a no go in our house. That's where mommy can get strict. Yeah, I'm pretty low key, but when you're hurting individuals, I'm like, that's gonna be a no. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah.
Ember's not intentionally like harm.
No,
like
she's
always not interested in.
No, she's always been very kind.
Yeah,
she'll say some wild shit. Yeah, but she's always been. She's not by nature a kid.
She's not intent or interested in hurting people.
No, she actually gets like if what she does has a negative reaction, she actually has like a meltdown.
Gets worked up.
She just wants positive reactions from people always. You're gonna have loads of story with Ruth.
She was so mad this morning because I took her purse and she was literally like that, like with her teeth grabbing onto it, trying to get it out of my hands. Like, it's my purse. You cannot take it to work. That is mine. And I was literally just like, no, that's my purse. This was never your purse.
Like, I bought this.
How dare you? This was literally never your purse ever.
This purse existed before you were on this planet. I let you borrow it, okay?
You've literally never been more wrong about anything.
You don't own anything because you don't understand money. You have no concept of capitalism.
It's mine. Anyway, all right, so back to...
So other than that, the intro packages, I was just like, you know, yeah.
The only thing that I was going to say happened before the actual... limo entrances was the extremely produced, we're going to go through their shit.
Okay, this is what I want to get your take on this, because I was seeing everyone talking about how they think that the playbook from Ryan was a producer plant.
No, what? No, what?
I'm like, no, that was his thing.
How... If it was a plant, he would just be like, I have no idea what you're fucking talking about.
Yes. Do you know that he'd be all over Instagram right now being like...
I've never seen that thing in my life.
I mean, granted, you sign shit, but...
Yeah. We saw his reaction. Like, he wasn't shocked.
His. Like, trust me, the man was lying upside down and sideways trying to convince her that if it would have been a plant, he would have just been like... I'm not really sure. Like, you would have seen a very different reaction.
If it was a plant, you would just be like, I'm telling you right now, I don't know what you are talking about.
1,000%. But I was seeing so many people being like, this is a producer plant. No.
Do people understand what that means?
I don't. I was seeing people just like looking at zooming in on all the writing and being like, this is obviously producer. I'm like, no.
I did wonder if producers added stuff to it. I did wonder that.
For the, like when they were scanning over it to look at it.
Yeah, or like there was like a quote or two where I was like, maybe, but what I want to know is how did production knew that he had that?
Yes. Now that's it.
How did they know that he had it?
How did they know? I did see some hilarious posts that I was living for where people were like, Ryan was a plant. Ryan was a plant, and this is a threat by producers to everyone else against Game of Roses. And I was dying. And I was like, well, then they did a shitty job, because if someone actually listens to Game of Roses techniques, they would win the goddamn show. They wouldn't get caught up right away. So please. But they were saying, yeah, Ryan's a plant as a threat to all people attempting to try to win the show.
I mean, like, it must have just been like typical, like, producer friendly relationship where I don't know though. Like, I don't know how you would. I just don't know how they found that out.
He also though kind of hits me as somebody who would, in a ITM with maybe a female producer that he's flirting with, would brag about it.
Yeah,
it hits me that he's the type of guy that'd be like, oh, I feel like I got this in the bag. Like, I even brought, like, I'm very impressive. I'm very prepared. and I have a whole basically, you know, notebook filled with information to make sure that, like, you know,
Yeah.
I'll be good, honey.
Yeah.
I could see him being that type of guy.
Now let's just get into Ryan in general, because
Yes,
as we have seen, also he was at a Bachelor live show, and he was someone who got called. Wait, no, he was pre-selected, right?
yes,
For Bachelor Live.
I believe they're the guys, the people who are like the bachelors are pre-selected.
Yeah.
Yes, so he's a Bachelor super fan.
So yeah, so maybe I want to have theories, but I'm like, maybe during the Bachelor Live thing, he was like, yeah, I mean, I have like a whole game plan if I was to go on The Bachelor, and they're like, we should cast this guy. Perfect. Like, bingo.
Definitely an option.
And
He's
then
like,
maybe they told him,
I
bring it.
would do well.
Bring, like, if you've got any notes you've got or anything, bring it.
I will say, when Tayshia and Caitlyn went in his room, and I don't believe that this man is a good actor in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe he could ever act.
Yeah.
When Tayshia and Caitlyn went into his room, he was very uncomfortable.
Yes, definitely.
He was dripping sweat outside,
Yes.
and he does that crazy, like
Right.
just trying to smile through his absolute horror.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
maybe they encouraged him to bring it on, but at the same time, it was like, why? And let's be real, he is a Bachelor super fan, so he probably knows this is not typical protocol. Why are they in my room right now?
Yes.
This is not what they've done on the other seasons.
And the Bachelor there probably was a producer, someone who was kind of like, you know, it's our little secret, whatever. Good call. This is all about making good TV, you know, kind of toying with him a bit for sure.
1,000%.
And obviously they knew to look for it because they were rustling through, like, unzipping shit in his fucking suitcase.
Yeah. Yes, that's very clear that, like, obviously production, you know, they all knew it was there. They were there for a purpose. We saw them go through, they did a, like, you know, a BS one to try to make sure it didn't look like they were going directly for him by going to Chris G's
Totally.
room first, and then they went to Ryan's, and that's all we
Perusing
saw.
people's skincare products on the counter.
Yeah, like, for sure, it's like they probably literally went through just those two rooms, and that was it.
Well, and then what really irked me, and it's just so classic Bachelor host, same shit with like the Wells stuff, is like, yeah, of course, and then they're not going to tell her until 3/4 of the way through the night at 3:00 in the morning.
Right, exactly. It's like they've known the whole time, and they even, you know, we had the moment with Tayshia and Caitlyn, like, off to the side when they were watching the limo entrances, and she clearly liked Ryan's entrance, and they were like, "Oh no, that's Ryan. That's that guy." It's like, okay, so they
That's right, the guy we found the play. But we totally forgot to tell her.
And so then it's like, you know, then they have to wait and tell her when she's exhausted and has been doing this for however many hours.
Although Ryan
And
was awful already.
that's the one I was shocked that she had any sort of energy with. He came out of the limo, and his energy the entire time was, I was like, I can't
No, did he have
stand
an ice
this
cream
guy.
truck?
First of all, he had an ice cream truck. And then when he had his little, like, one-on-one moment with her, he was like, ice cream, and he gave them snow cones. And it was like, I'm very confused. This man, first of all, doesn't know what ice cream is. He's giving them snow
How
cones. And
dare
why
you.
isn't she addressing this? And his energy, it was...
You like snow cones? I hate snow cones.
That's just a waste to me.
Why are you going to pay $6 for water?
Flavored water.
High fructose corn syrup
Yeah, I'm like, nah.
and food coloring.
Nah. And then it all just lands at the bottom
it's just
anyways. And it
gross.
melts so fast. I don't like things that can melt. I don't like my desserts to
What,
melt.
are you supposed to bite into ice?
I struggle with ice cream sometimes because I like to really enjoy and, like, you know, put it in my purse if I'm not done with it till later and then snack on it, whatever. I'm like, I can't do
Yeah, that
with
won't
things
work with
melt.
ice cream.
It doesn't work.
That will not go well. Anyway, didn't like him.
Not at all. Not at all. So I was very thrown off that she was invested in him at all in any way. But the way that Michelle handled the situation was 10 out of 10. Standing ovation. I couldn't.
No bullshit.
No bullshit. No bullshit. The man is dripping sweat. It's like if he could have unbuttoned more buttons on his very open shirt, he would have. Now, when that guy stepped out of the ice cream truck, that was like, oh, I've never seen a more fuckboy in my entire life. The hair, the very open buttons.
He wishes he was a fuckboy. A fuckboy insinuates that you actually are fucking a lot of women. But when he the way that she handled that situation, and then when he went to the fact that she looked at him, she right away was just like, so I'm gonna have to see this shit. I loved it because you could tell that he thought he was gonna get away with just sitting on the bench with her and being like, hey, like, yeah, I kind of like, I didn't watch The Bachelor at all, but my friend's wife did. My wife watched it. The truth is really coming out now.
He's like, my friend's wife did, and she like helped me with some notes, but like I've never watched the show, and she was helping me out, and I just wanted to find out about you. And he thought he was gonna get away with it, problem free. And then she's like, what about I take a look at this playbook of yours? And it's like, fuck. As it goes upstairs, and then when they're going through it, then when he said, so, you know, here it is. Here's just a list of like what I'm looking for in a dream woman. She's like, I'm going to need you to leave so I can go through this. Such a teacher.
He's standing
like,
in the corner,
need to go outside.
And he's just like, I am not here for the right reasons. I am here for the right reasons.
I don't think I've ever heard on this show someone
slip up that much
and then also contradict themselves every other sentence. He said, I've never watched the show. My friend's wife helped me. And then in 2 seconds, he said, I wrote these notes. And she said, I thought the friend. He's like, well,
she dictated them. I actually wrote them.
And then he goes, no, for real though. And then he's just like, well, I wrote part of them and she wrote part of them.
It was a collaboration, really.
And then he said, I've only watched 2 hours. But 2 minutes before he said, I've never watched the show. And then he's like, I've only watched like 2 hours. And then 2 minutes later, he said, when I was watching Michelle and writing down everything about her, it was like, bro, I've never watched the show. I've watched the show. I've watched 2 hours. I watched her season.
The friend's wife story really reminded me of a certain like birthday Instagram caption scenario.
Yes, 1000%. It was.
She's like, what is the story here?
It was like,
your friend's wife?
What? Are you?
Which actually, I feel like there probably is some truth in that, but they probably all watch it together.
Oh, I don't doubt that
she was texting him, Jason Tartic. Right? You should definitely emulate him.
I don't doubt that there were
collaborations,
co-offerings. Yes, I don't doubt that at all. I was laughing so hard when Jason posted. Did you see Jason post about it?
No, but I was dying because, like, you know, Caitlin was obviously going through it, and I just died.
And it was the first thing that she saw, and it was just like,
I just absolutely died.
To emulate. No, Jason.
Oh man.
Jason posted, and he goes, he took a screenshot of it, and he goes, who to emulate? And then about Jason, it said, not your typical bachelor, wasn't a standout. He goes, Ryan, should I be offended or flattered? Shit about Jason, not your typical bachelor, not a standout. And then I saw Mike Johnson, because he had a line about Mike Johnson, but with all the other guys, he had like a paragraph. And with Mike Johnson, there was just one line. And Mike was like, should I be offended that I only have one quality? It would have been actually
so funny.
It would have been actually a fucking trip to see your name on that list. It was like I saw Jason, Mike, Blake H.
Completely.
And you're like, I gotta find out what this person said about me. But there was this moment where either he wrote it about himself or the wife's friend wrote it about himself.
Yeah, let's talk about that because that was really weird, and I posted about it on my Instagram, and I want to know your thoughts. That was fucking weird. Okay, so there was a part where they maybe I have it written down.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I don't have it written down, but I have it on my Instagram story. You come off as mean and demanding. Better to just keep those thoughts to yourself and express a positive outlook to others. And there was way more than that.
It also said before that, it said that he was overconfident and arrogant. It says, Ryan, your biggest fault is that you're overconfident and arrogant.
And what was the other one? Demeaning and demanding or something? What?
So either he wrote this about himself or his friend wrote it about him. Now,
I don't think does any, how many people, I mean, granted, he seems like a weird guy, wouldn't put it past him. How many people would write to themselves, Bekah, your biggest flaw is that you are a hypocrite, idiotic, trash person who doesn't deserve to be loved by anyone, you know, like in your playbook.
Can you picture him though, like looking in the mirror and being like, you stupid. You fucked this shit up again.
And so I don't know what's more disturbing, if it was him or if a friend wrote that in your Bachelor playbook.
Yeah, the way that it was written was kind of horrifying to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I live for a friend who's direct and honest with me about maybe sometimes my faults and flaws, but this was a little extreme. But again, this man also hits me as someone who a friend of his could tell him that and he would take it as a compliment. You know, like he's the guy who someone goes, you're overconfident and arrogant and demeaning and demanding. He goes, what I hear you saying is that I'm confident and I demand what I want. Positive for me. Like that's why he's translating it in that way.
But isn't that so weird how then they continued on? We're like, better to just keep that to yourself and have a positive outlook. I'm like, did his mom write this? This is terrifying.
This is an entire family. Like it's just the collaboration of the century. Like he's got like 200 voices in it, all coming together.
Scary. I mean, like, I don't know. That is, I would not,
I have questions and I really hope he answers them. I really hope one of these Bachelor podcasts gets him on and we get some answers.
Well, you know, that was a bad night for Ryan.
Do you think that he'll be a Bachelor in Paradise person? They'll have him be one of the night one guys who shows up.
He's already on his second show, right? He was already on Bachelor Live.
That's true. He might as well
Paradise
do
the third.
do a hat trick. So he said, though, that was disturbing to me. Also, if I was Michelle reading it, the thing that would have been the most disturbing to me is the portion that included the lines that Ben Higgins had used to get women to fall for him.
That's weird.
Horrifying. Truly horrifying. That's when it went from, I mean, the playbook was already a lot and you're seeing how hefty it was. There were many a page. Like This wasn't like 1 or 2 pages printed out. It was just like, it was like 100-page document. And it's talking about his faults, who to emulate, how to not be the villain, you know, information about her. But then when she read that about the lines to use to get people to fall in love with you, I was like, oh, we have some serial killer shit happening right now. And I'm concerned that it wasn't just you who wrote this, because now I'm nervous for your town. You live in a small town, a small farming town, and I'm nervous because that's some serial killer energy. And you know, when there's not a lot of people around in those farm town fields, it's like me a little scary because nobody knows what happens later.
You know what I will say in his defense is that when I went on The Bachelor, I need to straighten up. I look like I have no neck on this screen right now. When I went on The Bachelor, I was like, you know, I don't know. When you obviously he was lying about watching the show. He's probably watched it for years and years and years now.
But of course, yeah.
But I will say that when I went on it, me and all my friends were like dead serious about like, okay, I got to do anything it takes to get to the final 2. Maybe I'll, you know, and then I'll dump him. Like I will break up with him, and then I will become. That's iconic. No one has ever done that. Like broken up with The Bachelor, whatever, in the top 2. Like, which is what Maddie Pruitt ended up doing.
Mm-hmm.
The girl knew what she was doing. Go buy her book. Use my discount code Bekah20. Just kidding. So
I was like, wait,
my
for
affiliate
real?
code. No, just kidding. But then you go on the show, especially because I didn't know who Ari was. So I was like literally thinking like, oh, I'll do anything I can to get as far as I can.
Yeah.
And then like break up and then be the Bachelorette. And then you go on the show, and then I was very quickly confronted with like, this is a real person with real feelings that I would not want to hurt, all those kind of things. And suddenly it becomes,
it's a reality.
Right.
You're watching it from a show perspective, and then all of a sudden human beings' feelings are involved.
Absolutely. And then you're like, oh, fuck, I would
Yeah.
not want to actually hurt this person or lead them on, or like, unless you're just not a nice person. But anyway, so I kind of, I will throw that out there, is the whole like, you know, everyone's like, let's get you as far as you can on this show. Say what you need to say, because it's a TV show.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, I'll stick my chin out for you there in that regard. Because granted, he's never met Michelle before.
Understandable. I'll tell you this much, Ryan. Though I find it creepy that you have documentation, and that you brought it with you, that it wasn't just like flashcards beforehand. I have no problem with someone bringing in a strategy book. I have a problem with lying relentlessly. You know what I mean? I'm like, if you're gonna literally bring a strategy book there, and you know how like strict everything is when you're on set, I would just be like, I'm gonna just run with it. And when she confronts me about it, I would just be like, yeah, I want to be really prepared.
Or you just say this, like, look, I've been watching the show for years. Me and my friends and family are all obsessed. And prior to this, I thought it was just a TV show. But having even talked to you for like 10 minutes, this is so real to me. And I can tell you honestly, like, this is no longer about a show anymore. This is about a connection with you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. You're like, I was also on the show. And my thing too is, it's like, if he could have just been like, literally been like, hey, you know, I have to be honest with you about some of my flaws. I think I'm a good guy.
I'm demeaning. I'm demanding.
But I can really go for what I want, and I can be overconfident, and that can be a put off to some people. And I know there's some really good people in this franchise who have become villains just because they're very confident. And so I just really want to make sure I don't want to walk away from this damaged. So I'm really going to try to make an effort, and I want to remind myself and make sure that, like, you know, going in, but I'm going to be honest with you about that. I want a good connection with you, but I might come off to the guys this way because when I see something I want, I go for it. Mm-hmm. But he was just like, I've never seen the show before. I've watched it twice. 2 hours. It's my friend. Never mind. I mean, it was
Throw
just
in
like
a basketball metaphor, you know?
When
Would
in
you
doubt.
not look at the hoop when shooting? Trying to make that 3-pointer? No, you would focus your eyes on the prize and go for a slam dunk.
Do you not practice before the big game?
Right. Does your coach not have a playbook to win? To take it all home?
And to me, no
You're
offense, Michelle. I know that you care about basketball, but to me, love, it's the ultimate game.
Yeah.
Not the game. Love, the ultimate prize.
Yeah. There we go. That's the direction I was going in, but I was going to say, Michelle, you're the ultimate prize. And I was like, no, yeah, love, the ultimate prize. Boom.
I'm not looking for a ring from a game. I'm looking for a ring for life.
Do they get basketball rings?
I think so. I think everyone gets rings.
Right?
But that's just me talking out of my ass, not knowing
Everyone
anything
should get
about
rings.
sports.
Everyone should get a ring.
Everybody should get a ring.
At least be honest that you just have watched the show for hours upon hours.
I don't understand when people try to pull this like I've never seen the show before. Like, I'm truly, unless you give me big Zach kind of dad energy, if you've never watched the show before, I'm a little weirded out. I'm going, you're gonna try to get on national television on a gigantic show and you've never watched an episode to prepare yourself? I'm a little thrown off.
So let's get, okay, so Ryan, that was pretty much Ryan, right? I mean,
Yes.
by Ryan.
Should we take a quick pause before?
Yes,
what are we
we
going to
should.
dive into afterwards, though? Are we going to do?
Well, I was gonna just actually bring up some of the actual front runners, and I wanted to talk about Jamie, our biotech CEO, for a second.
Okay. Yeah, we also
Among
have to talk
others,
about
obviously.
Joe. Yes. Okay.
We got a lot to still talk about.
But first, broads, listen, every job has writing involved. Even if you think yours doesn't, it does. It might be something as big as a press release or as small as an email or anything in between, but we all have
Or
to...
a resume for the job you want.
Exactly. We all have to write sometimes. And for a lot of us, myself included, that means instant writer's block. even if it's not instant, I do need help. I need help quite often, which is why I love having WordTune on standby to assist.
Even when I was a nanny, I had to have a great profile that was well written because that was what caught people's eye.
You somehow have to write at every point in every job.
And I'll tell you what, now looking for a nanny, there's a lot of poorly written profiles. So writing matters. And WordTune is like having a real live editor right there with you. In real time, you can type in the general idea of what you want to say or the draft of what you already have. And then you'll get alternative suggestions to your writing. You're going to get improved ways of sharing your thoughts. I had my personal doubts that a computer could really pick up what I was trying to say. Honestly, you guys, it works. I am blown away by WordTune.
Yeah, they're really incredible. WordTune improves writing efficiency up to 4 times, and better, faster writing means better business. Your team can use WordTune to improve performance on any project, everything from internal emails to press releases, sales outreach to customer service support, and so much more. And right now, you can get 50% off WordTune for teams at wordtune.com/chatty. You can use WordTune anywhere you're writing online, including Google Docs, Slack, Outlook, Web, and WhatsApp. It's been a game changer for our business day to day, and wow, I wish I had this in college. I'll just say that.
Oh my gosh, same. I wish I had this like a year ago. Anyway, right now our listeners can get 50% off WordTune for teams at wordtune.com/chatty. And if you want to see the benefit of WordTune, you can try WordTune for free at wordtune.com/chatty. This 50% discount is only available for a limited time and only available for teams. So you really might not ever see a discount like this again. And your team can start writing better right away for 50% off, half price at wordtune.com/chatty.
Okay, I'll be honest, until very recently, when I thought of options for healthcare in America, I just thought paying lots of money in deductibles, copays, and premiums, only to still be really confused about what your benefits actually are. Believe it or not, the American healthcare system is more than a bit confusing, but we recently found out, this is amazing, about CROWDHEALTH, and now we're telling you because, oh my God, it's so much easier and more affordable.
So here's how it breaks down. You join CROWDHEALTH by paying a monthly subscription. You can start and stop when it's convenient for you. And because there's no insurance middleman, CROWDHEALTH is able to pass the savings right back to you, but you're still able to see any doctor you want. You can find doctors local to you, and 100% of your membership pays for your actual healthcare cost.
I think we can all agree that finding a doctor and dealing with any sort of medical process is already an unnecessarily stressful situation. So the more simplified and user-friendly it can be, the better for everyone. CROWDHEALTH has given the whole process a much-needed upgrade. You can even receive virtual care through the app, which saves so much time on follow-up appointments or quick questions that don't need an in-person visit. I'm telling you, broads, this company, their mission, and the people behind it are truly incredible. The stories that you've heard from, or that I've heard from CROWDHEALTH, are amazing.
For a limited time, our listeners get their first month free, and after you've been a member, CROWDHEALTH will include a fitness wearable. So that's 30 days to try risk-free, plus the fitness wearable. You just have to go to joincrowdhealth.com/fit and enter code CHATTY at sign up. So that's joincrowdhealth.com/fit. Promo code CHATTY. CROWDHEALTH is not insurance. It's a community-powered alternative. Terms and conditions may apply.
Okay, so you want to talk about Jamie. So we can talk about limo entrances, and we can talk about Jamie starting there.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, I was just going to say, Jamie sort of gave the impression that, going off of Ryan, that he had never seen the show before. Sort of seemed like, do you buy that?
I buy it a lot more with Jamie. I know he said in the cast bio that he had never watched any reality TV before, and I didn't not believe it with him. But again, I believe someone being like, I don't watch The Bachelor. I totally believe that. And being like, I've never watched The Bachelor before. But I don't believe that people get cast for the show and that they then find out who the lead is and they don't binge a couple episodes of the show.
But granted, I didn't watch any of Ari's season.
Yeah, but you already knew the show.
True. Yeah.
I'm saying if you've never seen the show before and you're like, what am I about to involve myself in? You know nothing of the protocol, no idea what you're in for, and you're just not even going to watch an episode or two to get the gist of what's going on.
Maybe people really don't want to get in their head about it. That's the only thing I could think. Because that was my reason for not watching any of Ari's season. I was like, don't want to get in my head. don't want to freak out, get anxious. Like, let's just go into this process.
It's very true. And I feel like that was one of the things that you crushed night one, is because you didn't. You went in like you were more confident than he was.
I think a lot of girls, though, did not know who, like, genuinely just didn't. There was a lot of my friends who had not watched any of a season either, who were just kind of like, did a quick Wikipedia search and
did a couple. I would have been. I'm watching
Research.
everything. Yeah, I would be like super paranoid about everything. I'm like, I have to find out everything about this person. Like, what are my thoughts on this individual? But if anything, it's more for me wanting to know what show I'm partaking in and be prepared. Like, I'm not going to sign up for. I'm not going to audition for The Circle, let's say, and never have watched the show and just be like, what am I doing here? With like no
Survivor,
strategy,
etc. Yeah, no, like I've never actually watched Survivor before, and I would totally go on the show, but I'm going to watch Survivor.
And that's the thing. I could see you auditioning for Survivor.
Right. And then
without ever watching
you're like,
it.
oh, fuck.
And then you're like, fuck, I got to watch at least a couple episodes to prepare myself.
Yeah.
And the vibe I got from Jamie is that like, yeah, he probably he's never been a watcher of the show. But it seemed like he knew the flow of what was going on.
Well, he said that he wanted to be there for Michelle, so he has got to know a thing or two about her.
He said something like, I've heard that you're just incredible. And I'm like, do you know friends of hers?
Maybe he had friends. This does seem plausible. Friends who are like, you would love this girl. You've got to audition for her season.
Totally. Well, Jamie definitely seems like he's going to go far.
He does.
She was swept off her feet.
She totally was.
The moment that she met him. What did you think about his entrance?
Got really annoyed when he said that dress was just fabric before you put it on. I was like, that dress was not just fabric. What the hell are you talking about?
I was not a fan of the line. I was like, do you know how expensive that dress is? Do you know how many hours of work went into the craft?
Have you seen it hanging on the rack? Because I'm sure it looks gorgeous off of her body too. Do you not insult the dress like that?
Granted, she looks absolutely amazing, but let's take a moment to appreciate the fine craftsmanship of the dress.
Fabric.
Sir?
I was like kind of surprised by some of the line. Okay, who's the guy? I don't think I wrote it down fast enough. The guy who, the villain. What's his name?
Chris.
Yes.
Chris S.
Chris S. Okay. She was quick with him, but like his little jokes about like maybe I'll get an A, maybe I'll give you some D, whatever. And she said something so clever and fast
she was just
that I would
like
never
as
come
in
up
detention.
with. Yeah,
she was like, I was thinking more like detention.
Yeah, she was very fast.
I was like,
but she was also like, after she was like, oh, like, ooh.
Yeah, I thought
and
she
was.
Like,
what?
I thought she was put off.
Me too.
By him.
I thought she was like, fuck off.
What part of me thought in that moment was that it was editing and it was about someone else. I'm wondering that. So especially if he is going to be the villain and they want him to stay there longer.
She seemed like she had a smile on her face when he walked away.
Yeah.
She was like, that was fun, but I was like, to me, I would have been like,
I would, the second he said that, I was like, go away. Like when he came out I will say this, when he came out in the school bus and he had the backpack on and the shorts, I thought that was actually clever.
Yeah.
I was like, this is gimmicky, but not in a way that is like over the top and like, I'm going to be fully distracted by you the whole night.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you're in shorts and you look like, what's his face? The one rock guy, like Axl Rose. I mean, whatever, whoever wears the little kid shorts all the time. But
where's the kid shorts?
There's like some like famous rocker that like always dresses like he's like going to school. But I thought it was kind of a cute vibe. And then as soon as he started saying all that shit, I was like, now I am horrified by the whole vibe of what's going on with the bus and the shorts and like, no, they were short, but like the shorts and the knee-high socks. Now I'm creeped out with you being like gonna give me the D, and I'm just like, please don't say that to me while you have a backpack on. That's first and foremost. I'm feeling a little weird now that you came out of a school bus with a backpack and knee-high socks. You're talking about giving me the D. I'm a little. I am a teacher. I'm now a little disturbed by what's happening. Yes. No, this is crossing a line.
But she seemed into it.
She was into it.
She just seemed also into Romeo with the French, which I was also turned off by.
Okay, Bekah. I was seeing a lot of people being like, oh my God, melting for Romeo.
No.
And I was not getting that. I wasn't into it either. I
was
don't
like-
know why. I was, you know what, again, maybe it was our cast bio that I got in my head, but you know, he's like I believe he's like the Harvard grad.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about like that we could see him either as kind of this like shy, you know, handsome, super smart guy, or could be a problem in the house because he's a little bit like, you know.
Thinks he's better than everyone.
And after that intro, I kind of got the vibe that I was getting like I could see Romeo being potential villain energy a little bit. Where
Okay,
I'm
I
like,
can see that.
okay, or not even like, but villain in the way that Bennett was.
Yeah.
Not where it's like he's doing anything villainous, but that there's drama in the house with him a little bit.
I can see that. Other ones I didn't like, Clayton with the ruler, again with the like, no.
I was surprised that our future bachelor was asking to be spanked with a giant ruler. I was getting big Colton energy from him before, and I was like, it's Colton 2.0, here we go. And then he busted out that ruler and was having him spank him, and I was like, this is not a Colton energy moment.
It kind of is, though. Like, Colton was he was always a little bit attention-y like that, though. Like, maybe not in the same way.
True.
But Colton was always definitely willing to do that kind of shit. You know, if a producer suggested it and it was like a, you know, screen time sort of thing.
True.
So it kind of still is Colton energy to me.
Carrie's going to have a field day with him because he showed up. The suit, I don't know if you noticed, the color of the suit and the tie was like a grandma fabric tie. And I was like, Carrie is going to love dressing you. It's going to be a nightmare.
It's going to be hell.
Did you notice that with with Michelle? Dude, I was laughing so hard. With Michelle, Tayshia, and Caitlin, they all looked so beautiful, and I loved all of their outfits. Tayshia's outfit was insane. I don't know if you saw photos of it after. You couldn't see the whole thing during filming, but it was stunning. But then, very not a Carrie dress, but then she had these huge chandelier earrings, and I looked at all three of their earrings. All three of the outfits did not look like Carrie picks, but then it's like he's hanging on for dear life, and he's like, slap these earrings on, and they all have these like ridiculous
ladies.
these like two obnoxious Carrie style chandelier earrings that didn't, I feel like, what go with like the outfits at all. And I was like, this is Carrie's final breath from the grave. He's just like, these women are deciding to dress themselves all of a sudden. Whoa. They have opinions.
What is
about
this, 2020? Granted, I did see when she was looking through her outfits in one clip, there was nothing but bedazzled gowns. And I was like, oh, Carrie still has grip.
Well, yeah, Carrie's still there officially. But I feel like when we saw glimpses of the rest of the season, I feel like in general, she was looking very non-Carrie-ish.
True. Other entrances that LT's terrifying, obviously.
I'm going to tell you that I was quaking during the rose ceremony when I thought that she was sending him home. And I was like, if I don't get to see more of this terrifying energy on my screen. LT walked up. The thing that was so scary about him is that he's obviously wearing a tux like thong, and it wasn't a joke.
And when he walked into the men, he was just like,
There was no, when he was talking to her, he was dead serious.
Joker brain.
Yes. 1000%. Completely serious, holding his tequila, just like looking at everyone. Quaking. Thank you, broads, by the way, who have sent me DMs over the past few days being like, I looked at LT's TikTok and I also need to talk about it. We're all trying to process this together. It's a lot.
So, other ones, did you like Brandon with the bed?
No,
I didn't like that either. Too much.
I don't, call me a prude.
And I'm all sex about shit right away.
That's my thing. I'm all about being like, open sexually. You know me, I'm all about this. But the intro, if I was Michelle, I'd be a little bit like, you haven't even met me yet. Like, if we want to talk about this week too, and again, maybe this is prude energy, but I get that happening if it's Katie season because they're doing this whole shtick with Katie about her being
Colton's, whatever.
Yeah, but with Michelle, that was never like a topic of conversation that was coming up. It was teacher, basketball, you know, like that wasn't a conversation that was happening with her and Matt. So to just like there was a lot of guys who right away came in with like, let me give you the D. And it's just
not a good look. We live in a predatory world enough as it is. And also, like, it's so bizarre to me in a show that's all about like right reasons and real relationships that you're going to come out of the gate being like, I'm trying to fuck.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
It doesn't line up. This isn't Too Hot to Handle.
Right.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like, why would you make that choice?
It would definitely be... I feel like every once in a while someone does it right.
I mean, Brandon did say you'd be waking up next to me every morning. Yeah, it was not like super...
I didn't hate the bed with Brandon, but I also feel like Brandon, he's so young to me that, again, you posted about it, looked like a Y2K prom outfit. Like, and so I was getting this very young vibe. So everything about him, it just like threw me off a little bit.
You seem to like him though.
Yeah, I think I thought Brandon seemed like a sweet guy, very smooth. So you're a little bit like, I don't know what your vibe is, but he, you know, to me it was like I didn't have alarm bells going off, but I was also like, I mean, he'll get a couple weeks in and then be gone, I think.
Now I'm going to tell you about my favorites, and I want to hear your favorites, and then we're going to talk about Rick. So, because we need to talk about Rick, Lord knows. My favorites, well, I'll save the best for last. I liked Rodney with the apple, even though it was stupid. I like Rodney a lot.
I like Rodney a lot. I like his energy.
Yeah.
He was, he had like a swagger about him that I wasn't expecting.
For sure.
I
wrote that down as well.
I did love that she called him out, though, about the apple, because as soon as he came out, she's like, what type of apple are you? And he said, Granny Smith. I right away wrote down, I'm like, the one green one. Like, so I love that then she pulled him aside and was just like, I do have one problem. And then she named off 17 different red apples. Yeah. But he was cute.
Yeah, he was cute. And he kind of like brought it to her, you know? Like a lot of the guys were not very super confident. So I enjoyed that. I also liked, obviously, PJ. That was fucking hilarious.
Truly legendary.
And he was exactly how I thought he was going to be.
I texted Bekah, because I was watching at East Coast time. I texted you and I'm like, you and Gray are going to die. The fact that we were chanting PJ during the cast bios and that Daniel, sweet Daniel, really thought he did something with that fire truck, which, no shade, but I'm like, you really thought that was one of the best entrances? You could barely scooch your way up.
He thought just because he was a firefighter, you know, it was the best entrance. He's like, you know, I'm a firefighter. It's a shoo-in.
And then the triumphant music, and that fire truck is flying down, and PJ just comes out, and he's not in his fire suit. He is in a suit, and he is looking gorgeous. And the guys are in the wings, and they're all going, oh man, this is one we gotta watch out for. Oh, he's really good looking. Peter, and they're all spiraling.
I'm about to get to. Peter was like, I gotta say he's a good looking guy.
They were all spiraling watching him. All of them.
I had multiple people DM me saying every time like it cut to him, in my head it was just, don't believe we just watched
I was thinking about that song when the fire truck pulled up, and I was wishing there were like dancers on it, just like Bruno Mars was on the top. He like hired Bruno Mars just to come in. Don't believe we just watched.
And when he came out and and even though we saw like none of him, it was like, oh my God, he's totally this guy. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we see him much in the following weeks, but he seems like...
I'm starting to panic.
I'm panicking too.
I was like, why am I not seeing more of PJ?
He will make it on Paradise though, if he doesn't make it even past week 2. I believe in my heart. I believe.
Sure hope so. I have already followed him on Instagram. I'm only following like 2 people on the show. I was like, PJ. I want to be part of this as I watch you rise to victory.
He's got to be on Paradise, right?
I mean, but you know what? I don't know a lot about PJ, but from what I could guess, I could also picture him making it through the show and then them offering him Paradise and him being like, I'm too busy with work. I had fun, but I'm going to go back to what I love, saving people.
Saving people's lives. Don't believe it, just watch. Turns around with a little spin. Michael Jackson spin. And then finally, my favorite, obviously, Peter is making our dreams come true.
Bekah,
you manifested.
99.9% of people who I respect reaction to Peter was negative. And I was kind of weeping in my house in a corner because I was like, I'm kind of obsessed with this guy.
No. Don't weep. Be proud because we are going to be right. He is amazing.
Now, in the previews, he kind of looked like a nightmare.
He looks amazing in the previews as well. Who was he coming for again?
Will.
Who the fuck is that?
Remember Will? He came in. What was he doing? It was super brief. He was speaking Spanish to her.
Wow. I missed that.
He was the one who's like the academic advisor.
Oh, okay.
He's cute. He's cute. I like his vibe. And I'm was obsessing over Peter. And then I saw the preview. I was like, please don't disappoint me. But I'll say this. Everyone who I'm seeing posting who is not vibing on Peter, I believe in my truest heart.
They're jealous.
You're jealous. Obviously. I think it's going to be a Kenny situation.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I had many people sliding my DMs telling me I was out of my fucking mind with my obsession with Kenny, and then everybody was in love with Kenny. I think Peter's like that.
Or he's like an Aaron.
True.
I mean, that seems to be like a new popular trope, right? It seems like maybe it's not new, but on The Bachelorette, bringing that guy in who's going to just be a fucking wild card. Loose cannon.
Yeah. So tell me what you liked about Peter.
I mean, look, I like that Peter was the one who, making comments like with PJ where he's like, well, he's a really good looking guy, like, I don't know. And okay, obviously he's got the whole East Coast, the way we imagine the East Coast as Californians, he is that. And so we love it. We need it. Mm-hmm. We live, we thrive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But also, like, I don't know. He seems like a nice guy.
I was very disappointed he didn't have the accent. That was my only sadness is that he didn't have like some strong East Coast accent.
Was I imagining it? He has an accent.
I mean, it's slight, isn't it? But not much. Maybe I'm losing it.
Maybe I'm losing it because I remember this guy with like a full accent.
Maybe I'm completely. I've completely disassociated.
It's one of us is just off our rocker.
But I loved. Everyone was like, "Oh no!"
Now I'm losing my mind.
I loved when he came in and he screamed "Buongiorno, Principessa," and then chucked the pizza dough. I was all about it. I'm like, see, this is the energy I want night one. Shout, you know what I mean? I'm rattled, I'm jarred. But then he came up. I loved his sparkly suit. Okay, did you notice that his suit was?
No.
Okay, his black velvet suit had sparkles all in it.
What?
I was obsessed, okay? I loved it. I love the fact that we called that the first night he'd be feeding her something and he had she had cannolis with him for the very first time.
Wait, he has a Long Island accent. Long Island born and raised. Buongiorno, how you doing? Is his bio. Let's listen to this real quick. Sorry. Have to interrupt. I have to know Okay. I guess you're right.
He's got like a little. I also listen to a lot of podcasts with people who have heavy East Coast accents. So I think to me, if it's all like, "Hey, what the fuck is going on, motherfucker?" Like whatever, then it's
you're
not.
Right.
Even
it's
though I don't know what
like
just came out of my mouth.
You're probably like it's a 4 out of 10. You're right. In my head, it was a 10 out of 10.
If it was a 10 out of 10, I'd be like, "This is my Bachelor."
I don't know. I'm checking out his
I'm
IG
sold.
right now. This very well maybe. Like I love that he's embodying this ridiculous pizzapreneur lifestyle. He's also cute.
He's very hot. Now, I'm not a fan of the hair. If he grew out the sides, he would be...
Yeah, enough of that little on top bullshit, you know?
If he grew out the sides, he would be like, to me, kind of like movie star.
No, he's hot for sure. Go on his IG, people, if you don't believe me.
And I think he has kind of some unique features too. Like, I don't know. I'm super into him. And I am so sad for all of you for rejecting him night one. And I really hope that you come to your senses.
For you. That's sad for you.
Because he is going to be a good time. And hopefully he doesn't disappoint us. But I love him. I also, like, you saw a moment with him where he was talking, like there was a group of guys and he said like, oh yeah, no, I had a really good moment with her. And then like one of the other guys was like, well, I'm going to go make sure that like my guy over here isn't the only one with a good moment. And the way that he was like laughing it out, it didn't feel to me. That's why it shocked me later where there's a scene of him losing it with
Maybe
Will.
This guy fucking deserves it.
Maybe it's Will's problem. But I felt like the interaction with him was already like he was very friend guy with all the guys.
Yeah.
But I loved him.
Yeah.
I loved him and I was bewildered at most people's reactions to him. So I was so happy that you also enjoyed him.
Do you have any favorites otherwise?
I mean, I'm kind of similar to you. I loved Peter's. I loved PJ's. I liked Nayte's. Nayte's was basic, and he came in first. By the way, first out of the limo and first impression rose historically, and he got the first and only kiss that night. Historically, will
he go all the way?
This is either winner or second place situation.
Yeah. Do you know how old he is off the top of your head?
No.
Look it up right now.
No, I do not.
How old is she?
28.
All right. He is 27.
Okay. So they're close in age. I thought, I'll say this. I thought best dressed of the night was Malik. I thought he looked absolutely gorgeous in his velvet, well-fitted suit. I was obsessed. I'm liking Pardeep's vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Big fan.
Yeah.
So I think he is going to be beloved in the hearts. He had a really fun energy. And I then also was stalking his Instagram and he's very cute. I think one of my number one hate ones was Brandon K, who had the beads, the Mardi Gras beads, and like was putting them on her and was insinuating for her to get the beads, she's going to have to show him her breasts. And you could hear Tayshia and Caitlin being like, this is so awkward. This is so awkward. And Michelle's like, okay, well, no, not for today. Or not, I don't think I'm going to have these today. And he's like, show me your heart. And he like said heart, but it came late. And also like putting beads. I mean, it was upsetting to me.
But that's weird to me where it's like, he's doing the whole like, oh, you have to show me your heart. And she's like, no. But then the guy who's like, that's where I'm like not getting it. Who's like, maybe I'll give you the D or whatever. And she's like, ha ha ha.
Yes, I will say, I think there is an energy shift, right?
Sure.
So Chris was coming in like very smiley
Playful.
And confident, and Brandon kind of like slinked in, and then he was just like, here, let me give you these beads. And she was just like, oh God. And it was like very creepy energy. And it was also not done. He was like questioning himself when he put it on. So it's like, not only are you like it, and then you're
just like not even confident when you're doing it, and then it just like, is uncomfortable.
I'm not confidently making this a joke. It's like, I know that this is awkward as I'm doing it, and I'm still going through with it. I'm just like, Brandon, why didn't you throw the beads out the window before you exited the limo and just introduce yourself? You would have been a standout because no one just introduced themselves. Okay. But yeah, I think that those were my main takeaways. And minus Joe and Rick.
So Rick.
Also, who went home? I have I know for sure that Brian left. I'm so sad about, who was our NFL player 27 times.
Oh my God.
And he showed up and his suit was like wrinkled and I loved seems so sweet, and I've followed him on Instagram, and I love his energy. Like the day before or the day of the show, he posted like things that I want to talk about since people are going to be looking at this, and he talked about some really important shit going on in our country. He's I love him.
Oh,
and he's gone.
sad.
So sad. And then, by the way, Clayton also made not Clayton. Clay, excuse me. Clay Harbor posted, and he's like, finally an actual NFL player was on your screens last night in America. He's like, this man has a Super Bowl ring.
Oh.
And he like shaded himself too, because he's like, there's actually a official real NFL player.
Wait, this is the guy that got like drafted and then dropped over and over and over again?
Yeah, apparently he's got a Super Bowl ring.
Well, I guess your odds are high when you have been with like 25 different teams.
Very true. Edward, the wellness healer from
That
Los
was weird.
Angeles with
Didn't
his
like the
singing
sound
bowl. Garrett, the astrologer, is gone.
Our mom.
Our mother is gone.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. He's gone. And then I think I think the other Joe is gone. Yeah.
Well, Rick, first of all, was he wearing eyeliner? We need to talk about that.
Rick, no, I know exactly. Now, I'll tell you this. Those people who have that natural...
Those eyelashes.
The guys who have the under the eyelashes that are really dark that look like eyeliner... That's one of my weaknesses.
So how did you feel about Rick? Something tells me you are not weak at the knees for Rick.
I was not. I was slightly horrified, but I also would like when I'd look at his face, I'd be like, I think you're hot.
Yeah.
Like I find him to be extremely hot, but he gives me the massive weirdies.
It must have been the editing, right?
I think so, because she seemed to really like him. She seemed to really like him a lot. But I do feel for the guy. They kept him in that damn table. They rolled his ass around.
The scene where she was sitting across from him on the couch just had me deceased. How long did they make him sit in that? That must have been so uncomfortable.
It had to have been, at least 4 hours?
Unbelievable.
4 hours, they roll him then, and he's with the men, and there's like one moment where you see for a second the guy's about to like give him a sip of a drink, and he's just getting rolled around. He is rolled over to interrupt her talking to Spencer.
Wild.
And I feel like it might be the editing that he's actually maybe a good sport and is playing along with the fact that he has to have her sit there and they have to have a conversation. But then when he got out of the table and was like, I want you to know that you can like have fun with me and we can talk about this and remember this. That kind of weirded me out, where I was
just
like...
the way he was like, I don't know. He was just weird.
The energy was off to me. The energy was off to me, and it made me like... I would say I couldn't put my finger on it, but he also arrived as an entree.
Yeah,
so I'm I can't put my finger on why the energy was weird, but also he was on a bed of lettuce.
His head was on a platter, and that's weird. But also, bro, he looks like he's like top fucking 3.
Yeah,
what the hell?
He's someone that I could maybe see week 3 us changing our minds about.
I'm open. He didn't do anything that made me against him.
He seems like a nice guy. He does seem like a nice person, at least.
He also doesn't seem as attention-y as Connor did. It's like Connor with the like, please stop.
No.
This guy doesn't have the same vibe.
We pray he doesn't play an instrument or sing, or else we're in trouble.
I could see it.
Yeah, me too. But I'm crossing my fingers. Like you were saying, I my heart is open. I feel like my mind could change about Rick.
He looks like someone who's like, I actually play the mandolin,
Yeah. My heart might change quickly because, like I said, I do find him to be very attractive against my will.
He looks like spooky Jim Halpert.
Yeah, and I like the spooky Jim Halpert. I find Jim Halpert to be cute, but not spooky enough for me. He's like the Pete Davidson version of Jim Halpert a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, if Rick had tattoos, I'd be done.
Rick's personality's fucking weird. Yeah, I'm open.
I'm not saying that I like the personality, but just physically.
Dude, the way he was though, smiling and just like uncomfortably laughing, it was really terrifying.
Yeah, I wasn't into that. That wasn't for me. That wasn't for me. But we'll see. Like you said, he seems to go really far, and it seems like she really likes him. And I get it. I think that he did have an energy that was maybe calming a little bit, because he wasn't taking himself super seriously on the first night. And
sorry, I just realized we didn't talk about Joe and talk about that. We didn't talk about Joe.
Yeah, well, let's wrap it up with Joe.
Let's wrap it up with Joe. First things first, I was like, Joe's cute. Hate him.
He's extremely attractive, and he's red flag city.
I'm sorry. I don't care what your excuse is. You're starting off the relationship with an excuse about why you already ended it with this person. What? Like, what?
And then also to be like, but you like auditioned and went through like that long process to get on the show. Dude, and never contacted her again.
My guy was trying to play it off like he would not have brought it up unless she did.
Well, remember after she spoke to him, he's like, well, I wasn't really prepared. I didn't think we were going to talk about that. And I was like, you really thought you'd show up and that she wouldn't be like, why did you ghost me?
He was probably he was hoping she wouldn't remember him.
When
sus as fuck.
Yeah, very sus. And when Michelle just looked at him and goes, do I know you? And then he walks away and she shouts, did I slide into your DMs? I was on the floor. Is your last name? What? Fully calls out his last name. But when she goes, I was obsessed with the fact that, I don't know, I just feel like most bachelorettes would have tried to play it off, like maybe not said anything right away and then been like, he started talking to me on Instagram. I fucking love that she was like, did I slide into your DMs? She said that she's the one who did it. She's like, I was the one who slid into your DMs, right? Is your last name such and such? Obsessed.
Dude, how did he think he was going to get away with that too if she was the one that talked to him first? What the hell?
I sure don't know. Maybe he was just like, well, she seems to have been really busy the past couple years, so maybe she will have forgotten. But
was that
yeah.
Pre her being on The Bachelor?
Them talking?
Matt's season?
Yes, it would have been. Because he talked to her about the fact that his property was in George Floyd Square during protests. And so she would have gone on Matt's season like right after. Because Claire
fall. You're right.
Claire and Tayshia's season came like right after.
You're right. Oh my God.
So I will say this, in their conversation, when he brought that up, it's like, obviously, and it's like, I can't speak about this, but being a Black man, having property there during that time, like, I can't imagine the trauma that was happening. But then when so it's like, I can't speak into that, but the way that Michelle handled the whole situation too, again, it's like, she's so phenomenal.
Yeah, she's really graceful.
That she was just like, I value communication, but I'm also gracious. And I'm a woman of color who lived right near there. And I was having to talk my students through this. Like, I understand. So we didn't have to have this breakup. But the fact that there wasn't any communication or any explanation to why then you are feeling the anxiety and you're not ready. She clearly was, and then she almost didn't pick him. So her red flags.
Producers told her to pick him for sure.
I think so. She seemed into him to me, but her alarm bells are going off.
Yeah, that's just to me as bad news. Like whether your parent just got diagnosed with cancer, whatever, if you got cast then on that person's season, you come straight forward and like,
yes.
No.
It's one thing if you're DMing somebody, something traumatic happens, and then you ghost them, and then you bump into them on the street one day. I don't think anything is owed, personally, if you're not in a relationship, if you're just talking. But you show up on this woman's her season.
No. Yeah. He was not going to bring it up unless she did. And he couldn't even take the time pre-season. The man was already in her DMs. That means he could have just said like, no.
It was almost like he just, the fact that he didn't send a DM and say, maybe I'll be seeing you someday. Nothing even. Like there was no then him trying to follow up even more recently, knowing he was going to be on her season.
That's what I'm saying.
Was like you were hoping it was just going to go away for sure.
No, and then to me, like if someone's like, I don't care. I don't know. To me, I'm like, what I would feel like if I was her, be like, well, you're bullshitting me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think she felt that way.
Yeah.
It very much appeared that way. And
even the way she responded, where she was like, yeah, I was going through the same thing as you.
Yeah. She's like, and I was having to walk children through it.
Like 10 and 11-year-olds. So like, yeah. I mean, the way she said it, she was like, I, out of anyone, would like understand that.
She's just so incredible though too, because then when he all of a sudden was then saying, he's like, I know that my communication, I need to work on it. I've been going through therapy. And then she had that moment where she was like, I just want to let you know that like you as a Black man talking about the fact that you're going through therapy. She's like, I just want to let you know I see you and I respect that. And she was just then so, she's incredible. The way that the whole thing was handled. Yeah. But clearly she had alarm bells going off.
And I think he is not emotional. I think he is manipulative, very manipulative, because like that just, the whole thing pisses me off. And then him saying like, I'm going through therapy. Then why the fuck were you going to lie or just deceive her and pretend like you would never talk to her? You're full of shit, my guy.
It's not a good move. It's not a good move. And he makes me very nervous because I feel like he's going to break her heart. And I think maybe who we thought Nayte was going to be is going to be maybe who Joe, where he maybe gets really far and then she's heartbroken.
Well, look, and she's in a vulnerable position because since she slid in his DMs, this guy is obviously her type. There's obviously something about him that stood out to her in the first place.
Yeah, she reached out to him.
And one can assume then that they were talking. If they were talking enough for him to ghost her, then something was going on between them. So automatically... Yes. When you're familiar with someone going to the show, he has such a leg up.
And Michelle doesn't hit me as the type of person who is going to be like, you know, exchanged 1 or 2 DMs with someone and then is like, why didn't you contact me?
No.
She seems pretty fucking laid back that I would imagine it's more than we even think.
I think so too, because also he had this whole explanation. And I think that if it had not been anything, then he wouldn't have had this, explanation. That was a pretty serious one. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if they did not have a serious exchange, it would kind of been like, I'm sorry, things got really busy, whatever. Instead, he had a very, like, weighty reason for why he dropped out of the blue and what we can presume was some sort of intense exchange.
I think there's going to be a lot of drama with Joe. We also then see in the preview a clip of the guys being like, have they known each other previously? I'm assuming that's not Joe because that's pretty out in the open, right?
I don't think any of them would know that.
This will be an interesting, if they're referring to Joe, it will be a very interesting tell about who Joe is.
He handles it.
If these rumblings are happening because Joe is hiding the fact that they knew each other previously.
Yeah.
We take a Blake, for instance, who shows up to the house and is like, I gotta be fully honest, slid into her DMs, reached out to her, talked to her, put it all out there. Is Joe going to be actively hiding the fact from the guys that even if they confront him about it, will he be like, no, it was nothing? And will that be a drama because the guys bring it to her and are like, Joe didn't know you? And then she's like, what?
He probably will be hiding it because the details are not flattering. Like you said, I think it's more than we think it is.
I mean, there's no way that the guys aren't talking because they saw what happened with her and Joe. Like when she specifically came up to him, pulled him, and the guys were like, oh, she doesn't look super happy. And Joe came back and they're like, how did that go? And he's like, not great.
Yeah.
Like, how could it go not great with that much of intensity the first night of meeting somebody?
Right.
It's like the guys have to be like, what's going on right now?
Right. I'll be interested to see how it plays out is all I could say, but
Well, I think that we are going to have it looks like it's going to be a very dramatic season amongst these men, and I'm very excited for that. And I'm very happy to have such a wonderful Bachelorette.
Yeah.
I think she's going to make it fantastic. By the way, broads, tune in next Tuesday for our Halloween episode. You know we have to bring Roz back. I posted yesterday about that we were going to be doing a Halloween episode, and I got so many DMs from people being like, wait, is Roz not coming on? What do you think? Of course, Roz is going to be here. And then you can join us on Thursday for episode 2 recap, and then the Chatty Bros next week. And we'll chat soon.
Chat soon.